the world of chiropractic, where we take one epic journey around the world as we explore the 7 regions of the World Federation of Chiropractic. My name is Dr. Rebecca Wilkes, and I invite you to travel with me as we go on this exciting adventure around the globe. Dr. Ayres, welcome to the world of chiropractic.
Thank you very much. Very glad to be here with you.
You were just telling me right before we started the interview your full name. Can you let everyone know your full name?
My full name is Carlos Alfredo Guillermo Alfonso Ayres Gallegos.
I think that sounds pretty amazing to have that much.
Yes. So that's what sometimes scares me when they say, write your full name, and they give you a very small space. It says, are you sure?
Right?
Because for legal documents, I have to put my full name on everything.
Oh, yeah. Okay. That would probably get annoying after a while. Well, speaking of personal information, what made you choose the career of chiropractic?
I'm glad you hear that. You asked me that. When I went to the United States because of the problems that were happening here in Peru politically, I entered college to study medicine. And in the first day of class in pre-med, the first person that sat next to me, his name is Phil Shumay, we started talking. My English was kind of broken. And he asked me what I was going to study. I said medicine. And I asked him, he says chiropractic. And I said, what is that? You know, at that time, you don't have Google to find information. So I decided to start going to chiropractors and visit them and find out about the career. And I was fascinated to see what they were doing basically with their hands. Waiting rooms full of people. Everybody was happy. Nobody was coughing or sick, actually. They were healthy. And because I didn't have to change the prerequisites, I continued and I changed my major to chiropractic. Finished the prerequisites, and then I applied to NYCC, and I was accepted. My friend and I. And we both continued the education till the end, and we graduated together, and that was 40 years ago.
And one simple conversation changed your entire life.
Completely. You know what happened is that there were a lot of blackouts here in Peru, and I always wondered how they did surgery if you don't have electricity, the equipment that they have. So by being able to help people with my hands, I can go any part of the country. I live in the city and we have blackouts. You can imagine in the other provinces. So that was fascinating for me, the possibility of helping a lot of people the simplest way.
I can imagine. And you graduated from NYCC, started a practice in New York for what I understand over 20 years. Is that correct?
Basically, yes. The first year I was an associate to a chiropractor in Long Island. And that was a good experience because you don't learn the business aspect of running a practice. And I learned everything there. And in fact, as a result of that, because I was the associate, all the workers' compensation cases, no fault auto accidents was given to me because it involved a lot of paperwork. As low income, actually, what the insurance company paid was the minimum. And you have to prepare the cases, go to court, which I hated at the beginning. But it was actually the greatest experience. Sometimes we learn a lot from what we don't want to do. Because after 10 years, then I became an independent medical examiner, and I started working with the insurance companies because the state qualified me as independent medical examiner.
If somebody were trying to get into that as, you know, their second focus of their career, how would they even go about getting involved with something like that?
I don't know how it's handled in other countries or other states of the union, but in New York, you had to be 10 years in practice to become and pass all the tests because you have to do all the examination to the patients and determine if there is pre-existing condition, determine the percentage of disability. It's quite a lot to do in that specific and learn a lot about the legal aspects, because many times the attorneys also started sending patients, but basically they sent them to find out if the case was real or it was basically a frivolous case, because happens a lot of them because of the insurance. People sue for whatever reason. So that's part that you have to have the knowledge of all your orthopedic, neurological qualifications, radiological, and take the cases properly, keep all the sub notes adequately.
Kind of like an expert witness, I guess you could
It's
say.
basically you become an expert witness, and I had the opportunity to also testify in Supreme Court, which that was an experience.
Oh, wow.
Yes, and I'm happy to say that I've never lost a case in 20 years, because we only took the cases that deserved to be either defended or fought against,
Right.
depending on who sent the case. And many times there were a lot of arguments also with orthopedic surgeons and neurologists, because we disagreed with the percentage of disability. Okay? You have to understand that the percentage is basically not only the physical percentage of disability, but it's based also on their occupation. For example, if a laborer loses a pinky, that might be 1% of total body disability. But if this person is a pianist, that changes to 100% disability. And that's how things are being compensated, and that's the legal argument of it. It's very interesting.
Yeah, that does. It sounds very tedious, rewarding, I'm sure.
It's a different world.
And speaking of a different world, you just took on another role as the new president of the World Federation of Chiropractic. Could you tell us a little bit about what that entails?
Well, first of all, it's an honor that I was asked to become president and elected president of the World Federation. It's an ambition also to be able to be part of this world organization that represents the profession. And part of what is important is to see the guidelines, the regulations that we need to apply, and the help that we can bring to other parts of the world. So working with other directors is really a pleasure. We all voice our opinion, and eventually we help other parts of the world also, because people in the United States and Canada, they don't know what it's like to practice in Peru, in Chile, or any other country in Africa, what they go through legally. And this has helped me to learn a lot about the profession in the world since I left the United States.
Right, and I guess it's safe to say that the WFC is probably the most diverse chiropractic entity in the world.
Absolutely. It's the only organization with official relations with WHO. And that is heavy, because we're talking about how are we going to guide the health of the world in our aspect with respect to rehabilitation, chiropractic, and how we are perceived. So it is important that chiropractic is represented in all the health professions and recognized as such.
Speaking of, the WFC has a mission of expanding awareness, utilization, and integration of chiropractic worldwide. How is the WFC going about that?
First of all, by having the integration is important to become strong as a profession. The mission of expanding is not only talking about chiropractic. Many people don't know what chiropractic is, and some of us describe it differently also. Some have preconceived notions of what chiropractic is. So the World Federation tries to integrate all that, and at this point it's being done by the Be Epic principle. This way, if we are all in unison with one principle, with one goal, we can make a better focus about chiropractic. When you talk about dentistry, you're talking about teeth. You don't ask him about a finger problem. So when you talk about chiropractic, many people are confused and they bring problems that I don't really want to examine them.
And EPIC is actually an acronym for something. What does that stand for?
EPIC stands for evidence-based, people-oriented, interprofessional, collaborative. Okay? And the most important at this point, I believe that it's difficult for everybody to grasp, is the evidence-based. It sounds like it's too scientific. It has to be proven in the lab, and it's not like that. It involves the judicious aspect of a profession. It involves the preference of the patient. It involves also the evidence that is found in the investigation. And now we have many investigators, chiropractors and non-chiropractors, proving the effectiveness of chiropractic. The problem is that still other professions don't understand it. Instead, in spite that we have the investigation, they don't accept it. They keep doing the same thing.
If you look at evidence-based, you actually look at the papers written about evidence-based that really kind of line out what it is, and that's what you mentioned earlier, and not simply just looking at something that's published.
Mm-hmm. It gives you the opportunity to go further with that. Investigators are constantly publishing. I think that every time you grab an investigation, it's a pleasure to, the next one becomes easier to read. And
Right.
you can see that it makes me happier that I'm in the best profession in the world.
I'd have to agree. What would you consider to be one of the top or several of the top issues facing chiropractic worldwide?
Chiropractic is not legal in all countries. And initially, when we were all in North America, it is regulated, it is legislated, it's simple. Title is protected, people are protected. When you come to countries like Peru, it's not legal. However, in Peru is one of the countries where they recognize your degree, even though it's not within the educational system. They recognize that it's a professional degree, and they let you do what is necessary. Okay, so getting the legal, the legislation is not easy, and that is important to do in the world. So the World Federation helps a lot with that. Same thing as education. You know that nowadays there are more schools out of the United States and North America than before. When I was there, most of the schools were in the United States. Now we have more schools. In Latin America, we have 3 in Mexico, 2 in Brazil, I think 3 now in Brazil, 1 in Chile. So, but they are not still constituted within the Council of Chiropractic Education. So we need to polish and we need to help them be part of that, which is, we'll talk about that probably later, about the Latin American Federation, because that's the way we can integrate them into the great system.
You're past president of the Federation, FLAQ. I'm going to get you to say the actual name of it.
FLAC, Latin American Federation of Chiropractic.
And
in Spanish, Federación Latinoamericana de Quiropráctica.
Exactly why you just said that.
Thank you.
So tell us a little bit about FLAC then.
FLAC was formed with that intention of unifying all the associations of chiropractors that were being formed in the Latin American region, being the fact that the majority of the Latin American region speaks Spanish. Only Brazil and other few countries speak Portuguese or English or different languages, but mostly it's Spanish. And the fact that it was growing the profession and more professionals were developing their practices in Latin America, it was necessary to have an organization that grouped them together. I have to tell you, it's a very difficult task. Many don't want to be part of anything, but they want to change the world. And it's not going to happen if you don't belong. So it's been many years to try to bring them together, to be part of meetings, to see what the problems are in the different countries. It's amazing. It could be Latin America. You could be seeing it as all one group of people, but there are different groups actually. And it's handled legally differently, and growing and developing the profession differently also. So with FLAC, the Latin American Federation, tries to integrate that. It also serves to bring and sponsor seminars for the Latin America, for the chiropractors in Latin America. Before, it were mostly foreigners. If I have to tell you, in Peru, there are only 5 Peruvian chiropractors. There are about 80 chiropractors, but only 5 Peruvians born in Peru that studied abroad. Everybody else is just coming from Brazil, from Mexico, from Ecuador, from different parts of the world, just to have the experience, gastronomic experience, and practice experience, and the learning experience, how you treat different persons. So the Latin American Federation helps with seminars, helps with the political, helps a lot with their forming their school, and with together with WFC, we try to integrate them also with the Council on Chiropractic Education International.
And then you also mentioned there are other associations that are involved in FLAC, and one of those we're also past president of, which is the Peruvian Association of Chiropractors. Can you tell us about that association?
You know, since I left the United States and I came to Peru, I never thought I was going to be so much involved in the politics of Peru, in the politics of Latin America, and eventually with the World Federation. I'm very glad it did happen though. The Peruvian Association is a very small association. As I mentioned, there are probably about 80 chiropractors in the country, but the association doesn't have more than 15 chiropractors because they don't want to get involved. Being the fact that the majority are foreigners, they just spend 1-2 years and then they return to the country or they go to another country. So they really don't want to be 100% part of an organization that the Peruvians want to make grow and represent the profession. At this point, because there is no legal status, the only way we can defend the chiropractic profession or the chiropractors if there is a problem with immigration or a problem with the labor department is through the association. Because to become a member of the Peruvian Chiropractic Association, you have to have had graduated from a school recognized by WFC and the CCE. If you don't have a degree from a school, a CCE school, you will not be accepted as a member of the association. You might be. I go even further when I hired chiropractors for my practice. I ask them to have their license because many graduate, but they don't pass their license exam. And because there is no requirement for that here, only the diploma is required, eventually it becomes more difficult to get your license. So get it before, and then you are free to do it.
Right, just make more accountability.
Yes. With the Peruvian Chiropractic Association, we had a big seminar in 2008, the neuroscience seminar that was invited also medical doctors. The idea was to create awareness to the medical profession of how big the chiropractic profession is worldwide. We are not just as many think bone setters or people that crack your neck and your back. Okay, it's a profession, we're structured, and we prevented everyone that he wasn't a chiropractor to take the technique classes, because techniques only for chiropractors. But everything else, we invited the medical doctors, the physiotherapists, and it was a very good event. And we did it in the medical we call it Colegio Médico, their building. So it was excellent. It's a lot of work, a lot of money, and we haven't repeated it yet.
I can imagine that would be why.
Yes.
Well, aside from, are there any other social or political limitations to chiropractors in Peru, or are those pretty much the main ones?
At this point, that's pretty much. It's not that you can come to Peru and practice chiropractic because immigration will not issue a visa, a work visa for you to do. So what I usually tell them when they ask me is you need to be hired by someone that has an established practice, and they will sponsor you for the visa. And that's paperwork, not big thing, but it will give you the possibility of practicing in Peru. We need a lot of chiropractors. It's a country with 33 million people. Lima alone has 11 million people. So you can imagine 80 chiropractors for 33 million people. There's no competition.
Not at all.
It's just a matter of doing the work. And as a result of that, after I came to Peru, I started going to the provinces far away and helping people. And then I realized we need a chiropractor here. As a result of that, then I hired a chiropractor, I opened an office and built it.
And from what I understand, you actually have several offices now. Is that correct?
Yes, seven offices. Seven, yes.
And they're located throughout Peru, right?
Yes, in the northern part of Peru, the southern part of Peru, and in Lima.
So you are not only a world traveler, but you travel all the time, everywhere, is what it sounds like.
Before the pandemic, yes. I'm grounded now.
That's I could imagine. So can you tell us a little bit about those practices that you have in Peru?
At the beginning, for example, I'm going to mention one because the way I started opening the practice was kind of accidental. That somebody told me that in Piura, 1,000 kilometers north of Lima, there was sometime a chiropractor, but one of those that go for just passing by, never stayed, and they needed chiropractic care. So this was a medical office that rented rooms. I went to talk to them. I saw the space, very small space, but I said, I don't need more. And I started traveling to Piura every weekend. Saturday, I worked in Lima, Monday through Friday, and Saturday morning, in the first flight, I would fly to Piura, rest a little bit. By 9 o'clock, I was at the office. Sometimes I had a radio station to talk about chiropractic, and I started seeing patients. Eventually, at the second week, I needed an assistant because we had to handle paperwork and people lining up and getting desperate. And I worked from 9 to 1 and from 2 to 7, 8 o'clock on Saturday. Sunday, I will work from 8 o'clock till 2 p.m. The airport is very close. So at 2:30, I was at the airport taking my flight back to Lima. So I can be at 4 o'clock and have lunch with my kids. Next week, same thing. Following week, same thing. I did it for about 4 or 5 months. And it gives you so much energy to do it that I don't get tired. I can be there talking, helping people. They really need you. And when you see that, it gives you more energy and you don't know where you get it from. Close to the 4th month, 5th month, they brought a guy, they carried him actually into the office. And I said, oh my God, what am I gonna do with this? This is not gonna get off from the table. And they placed him on the table and he had 3 herniated discs. They wanted to operate him. He was the dean of a national school in Piura.
Ooh.
important people, very well known. First Saturday, well, I didn't do much besides icing, stretching, activator. Sunday, good thing he got up. I saw him actually Saturday morning and Saturday afternoon, and I saw him Sunday. By the following week, the guy was not carried, was actually humping into the office, helped by relatives. Follow the procedure. In 4 weeks, the guy was smiling and walking, happy as hell.
I'd imagine he's walking.
I was very happy. The one problem is that the following week, I couldn't take care of all the people that was lined up in the office. It's like Jesus Christ arrived, but I couldn't. And that's what made me hire the first chiropractor for the northern region. The first one that was available, he didn't speak Spanish. Uh-oh. People don't speak English.
Right.
How do I lead him there? I couldn't. So I had to go to the institute that teaches English, the American Institute, and hire an interpreter. And with the interpreter, was actually shadowing him everywhere, even to shop at the supermarket. He learned about chiropractic. He read a lot. And he's the one that manages all the offices now in the northern part. He's my partner also, after many years. And after that, office in Piura, there were 2 in Piura. Now it developed to further north to Sullana, a little further north to Talara, and a little further north to Tumbes, border with Ecuador. But he manages all of that. I took that responsibility on my back, and I'm glad that he's developing and he continues to grow that way. Because people accept it, and as I said, they need chiropractic. They're tired of the regular treatment, especially for low back pain and neck pain. They're tired.
Yeah, absolutely. So do you see yourself opening up more businesses and I guess the region? Oh, okay.
Always. In fact, I think now is the proper time to do it again.
Right.
But I'm looking into that, but I think we need to expand. The advantage is when you get a partner or somebody running it is that they feel like you and they want to continue to grow. And that way the name continues to spread. But it has to be very carefully studied. It's not opening like a Burger King. You have to study the area, and it takes a lot of also educating people of what you do, because we have a lot of bone setters here. And that's why many times I tell chiropractors, don't show how you adjust. People don't understand that. Because crack, what does that do? Teach them what you do, because other chiropractors don't do that. They use activator, they use soft tissue technique, and they help also. So chiropractic many times is a synonym of cracking bones, and that's a mistake. That's a mistake. Chiropractic is a profession, and we need to teach them that.
I guess cracking bones could be 6 months worth of training, right?
I think 2 weeks.
Yeah.
2 weeks, yes. And that's what we have to face here now, because of there's no legislation. What can you do against the charlatans? Because there are people that have, I can do that. Look at all the people Dr. Ayres has there. I'm going to do the same thing, and I'm going to charge less.
And then people go to them and get an expectation of chiropractic being something different than what it is.
Actually, I send them to them. Because if they don't want to pay, it's because they're not interested. If money is the object, they don't belong there.
Right.
And many times I'll treat them. If they don't have money, I'll treat them for free. I have a lot to give back to chiropractic, but I'm not going to diminish or compete with other people because they charge less. Charge what you think you're worth.
The inherent value.
Yeah, and that's why I send them to them. And sometimes they go and they come back.
They learn their lesson.
Yep.
Well, tell us
Yes.
some unique facts about Peru.
Unique facts about Peru. Peru is a very diverse country, starting with the fact that we have three regions: the coast, the Sierra or the highlands. That's the picture I see behind you. And then you have the jungle on the other side of the mountain, okay, part of the Amazon jungle. So because of that, we have the main language, the official language is Spanish, but we have more than 42 different languages from the different regions. As a result of this, food is excellent. Every region, because of the history, has developed a good gastronomy. Did you know that potato is original from Peru?
No.
Potato is original from Peru. There are more than 400, 500 variety of potatoes, but most of the world knows one kind. And we have the reserves of gold, silver, the first reserve in the world of silver, actually. Okay, the second producer of copper. A very unstable government constantly. That's one of the things that makes you think about staying or not. But very happy to live here.
It sounds like you have it all. You've got the beaches, you've got the Amazon, you've got the highlands, right? Sounds like you got a lot to do if you live there. Plenty of culture, food. What's your favorite Peruvian dish or food?
I will have to say what everybody likes here, which is ceviche. Ceviche is basically fish, raw fish, fresh fish, marinated with lime juice. Just with that, some salt, some garlic, and onions. Very refreshing, very nutritious, very filling too. That's the dish that most represents actually Peru.
And it's the citrus that actually cooks the fish, right?
Absolutely, yes. You don't find this kind of lime everywhere. In other words, if I have to use half a lime here, you probably need to use 2 limes. It's very, very acid, very citrus, as I said, and that's the advantage to cook it fast, to prepare it.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah, I could see how not everyone would think about the strength of the lime.
Sometimes you go, let's say you go fishing, and right there on the beach, they'll cut the fish quickly, put them in a bowl, squeeze the lime, some onions, cut, and you start eating right there, fresh. That is the best food. That is the best
Oh, I could imagine.
food. Yes.
Wow. Well, tell us something unique about you.
Probably that I like peace. I don't like to be in fights. I like to be together with everyone, happy with everyone.
You're a peaceful guy who enjoys ceviche on the beach.
Everywhere, I can adapt easily though to every place. If I have to live in the highlands, I live in the highlands. I will not complain about it. I adapt. That could be unique. I adapt very easily to any situation.
Well, that's good that you're in the position that you are with WFC. You have plenty of adaptations everywhere.
Yes. What I like about WFC is that we are actually integrating, we are growing, we are aiming our thoughts, everybody together for one goal. Most of the time, people think also, what I'm going to get out of this. And it's not like that. It's what can I give? That's what I've always been doing. You give, and automatically it come back to you. And these fights that sometimes happen in congresses and seminars, it just I call them discussions, because eventually the only one that's going to benefit is the profession. We people are passing by. What we can do to help that profession grow. That's why I'm with WFC. That's why I've been with FLAC, with the association, and that's why I keep the practices. The intention is to help people.
Right. And sounds like foster collaboration among practitioners in discussion, healthy discussion, and
Mhm.
debate that is always ever present in chiropractic. But with that, we can only grow.
Absolutely. We have to learn from everything and learn to reach to agreements and compromises too. But the goal is what's important.
Exactly. Well, the WFC has a 20 principles document that talks a little bit about their identity and where they position themselves, essentially. And one of the principles involves fostering the younger generation. So, that being said, do you have any advice for either students or recent graduates?
I think life is a learning experience. We are learning, as I have told you before, constantly. Even as in the case of the IME, don't want to do it, but you learn and it makes you grow. So don't ever stop actually studying, don't ever stop learning. And more important, always think what can you give back to the profession that has given you so much. Always think you can gain a lot economically, pleasure of helping people. What can you give back? What can you do to be part of that? Be part of a group. Don't be a solo practitioner. Even if you don't agree the way your fellow practitioner practices the profession, just accept it. Everybody's looking for the best of the patient. If they do it in the best interest of the patient, it's accept. If you do it in your own interest, it's questionable. That's what professionals do. And that's the reason why we have to continue reading. That's why the research and the publications are available to everyone now, especially through the web. Years ago, as I said, we didn't have Google. I have to go to the library to get a book. And sometimes when I got there, the book wasn't there.
Right.
What do I do? No? Now we have this capability. So keep in touch, express your thoughts, and always think of how you can help others grow. And that will make you grow.
Very wise. Well, I want to thank you so much for donating your time to the profession and also to the world of chiropractic.
Thank you. I'm very honored. And you mentioned a very interesting, important word, time. You know, time is the most precious gift you can give to everyone. Money, if you give money, you make more money. Time, you're going to make it back. I'll be glad to give my time.